What's up, YouTube? I'm going to show the latest and kind of quickest way to set up your Raspberry Pi with Klipper for 3D printer. I have to update to the latest version because I bought the new Pi Camera 3 and it says it's required, so I'm just going to give a quick rundown while I'm doing it. So I've backed up the files from that already, and I actually have an automated GitHub backup for the printer configs, but this is going to be the fastest way to do it. So look for Raspberry Pi Imager on Google, and then you'll go to Raspberry Pi's website, pick whatever version you have. I downloaded this already and installed it, and then it's going to be basically two parts. So we have the Pi Imager, which is going to set up the image for the boot drive on the Pi, and then we're going to use this Kyle and search for this on Google, and you'll find this GitHub, and it's basically someone wrote a code for automated installer. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my imager. I still have the old stuff on there, so I'm just gonna go ahead and delete the drive. So while that's going, there's some recommendations here if you forget or anything. Raspberry Pi OS Lite 32-bit is recommended if you use the Pi, an actual Pi. Okay, so that should be fine. And you can do, if you have a Pi 4, I think you can do 64-bit or 32-bit. And there's no real necessary need for the desktop version or anything like that, because you're not going to have anything hooked to it. It's just going to be running the printer. Okay, so we're going to go to, you can do this one, but it's not the light version. We're going to go with the light. So we're going to go Pi OS Lite 32-bit. I have a Raspberry Pi 4 2 gigabyte. Pick my USB drive or my 32 micro SD. Don't forget this wrench button first, because it will make things easier when you set this up. Okay, so normally this can be default, which would be Pi and Raspberry, so then you don't really have to worry about forgetting all the time. So I'm just going to use that for now. I might change it later, but Pi, Raspberry, and then I'm going to set this up for the Wi-Fi. Come on. So Alright, so you're going to need to do the SSH because you have to remote access this through different softwares all the time to do a lot of things with setup and whatnot. So then pick your username, password, and your Wi-Fi. Pick US or whatever country you're in. You can do this, but I'm just going to leave it off. I guess I can do it. Last time I did this, I used a Mainsail OS image, and I didn't have to do any of this. It was a much different process, but got that in. I'm going to hit right, and then we're going to wait. So ignore that. It's actually quite fast using this USB-C hub. Close that. And we have put our image on the drive. Go ahead and inject it. And then we're done with step one. So I'm gonna go put this in the Pi and alright, put the SD card back in and powered up the Pi and just monitored the lights on it and booted up fine. I got a green and a red light. So next step would be to figure out your IP address, but that's going to be outside of this video because there's kind of a lot of ways to do it. Simplest way is probably using your home router login and then just seeing the connected devices. But got my IP. Gonna have to go search for PuTTY, download PuTTY. This is what it's gonna look like. So you're gonna put your IP. 22 is the SSH port, and then we're gonna hit OK. And then this is where your login's gonna come in, and then your password. Enter, and you can see we're in the Pi. So you can enter through PuTTY. You can also use Windows PowerShell command or Linux terminal. Kind of all the same thing, a little bit different ways to SSH. Now that we're in, we're going to go to this page. Okay, so we got step 1, 2, 3, 4. Easiest thing is when we hit this box to copy, paste it in there, hit enter. Oops, I don't have a Git yet because it's a new install. Should work. Oh, that's the problem. You see this? Gotta run that. So it's best to run it the command is sudo. It's admin rights basically. So we're updating kind of the latest stuff here. I'm gonna start again here. There we go. Okay, step 2. And this is cloning the directory in GitHub for the person who wrote this program. So now that we've done that, step 4 gives us this nice, easy menu. Since it's fresh, there's nothing here. So it's best to go in order. So you want to hit 1 for install. We're going to go with Klipper as number 1. The recommended. And then this, if you have more than one printer, you can set up more than one version of Klipper in here. But I only have one. So we're gonna let this run. Then there's Moonraker. Then you get to pick your version of interface that you want to use. I feel like the majority right now are using Mainsail, so I'd probably recommend that if you're not familiar and would need help. There's Fluid. There's a couple other versions people may or may not use, but they're just not as popular or supported. Then there's Crow's Nest, which is for webcams. And there's what else? Then Klipper screen, if you have a touch screen or not. I do not, so I'm just going to skip it, but I may install it anyway. Doesn't take that much space. So go ahead and answer yes to that. Add the user. And just go down the list. So number 2 is Moonraker, which is the API to help connect the web interface to Klipper, I believe is my understanding. If you have a Pi 3, I'm pretty sure this is going to be way slower. Okay, now we're going to do this number 3 for Mainsail. And I believe you can actually run both if you want to, but there's a little bit of custom configuration. yes for that. I don't have it yet, but I'm gonna do it while I'm already here and install Klipper screen stuff. That took about almost 10 minutes by itself. Alright, so we did 1, 2, 3. So pick one of those. It's basically 1, 2, 3, 5. We're gonna do 11 for the webcam. I'm not sure what this one is, but this I believe is like a messenger that you can get on your prints through Discord or text message. I think I'm gonna try this one because I'm installing the camera. Okay, so that's a remote access plugin. But I'm gonna go with this Obico, and hopefully if I ever have a print failure, it will tell me and shut the printer off. Alright, all those are done. Then I'm gonna do B for back. Gives you a nice little description here. If you ever want to get back to this and add something later, you just rerun the script here. So step 3, so you copy that, paste, and then you'll get that. Just do it after you remote access your Pi. So that's done. Under advanced, you can use this to build your Klipper firmware images, which you need on your controller board. There's a little simpler way. You can do it manually as well, but there'll be documentation from your board manufacturer, and then you'll want to do more than likely a build only, and then put that file onto a flash drive for that first boot, because you can't flash live with the factory because of bootloader stuff. Go back. Yep, don't need any of that. So we are done there. And we're back into our Pi. I'm just gonna run sudo app update. It's because this is a fresh build. And we're just gonna run sudo app upgrade. See, this is what I'm told I need for the latest Pi Camera 3. It shows Pi Camera 2, but we'll see. Alright, we'll let that finish that last step there on the Pi. Then you can close out of it you can type in your IP to your web browser, and you'll get Mainsail or Fluid, depending which one you went with. You're going to get probably this message because we haven't configured the device connection yet. So if you go to machine settings, under printer config right here, you have to do a command with this, and then you'll get a really long ID number that you have to put in here. So that's showing how your Pi is connecting to your controller board for the printer. And then you'll need a whole printer config file. I've got everything on a GitHub backup, so I have to work through getting it. Our crow's nest here has a bunch of camera settings. Our Mainsail config here is an automatic update macro for you, but it does virtual SD card, gives you some pause, resume functions, and it gives you status while you're printing. And then this is just for the spaghetti detective for the camera. Not sure how well that works yet, but we're going to give it a try. When you first set up, I would recommend doing the updates, just making sure all of this is all the way up to date, and then start your configuration. That's a whole nother ball game, and is very dependent on you and your specific printer and application. So hopefully this helped someone or not.